Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and today I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Gemini. If Gemini is your solar, lunar, ascendant/rising sign, then this is a message for you. Okay, let's get started. Okay, let's see what these tea leaves have to say today. And so, our card for this reading is the Nine of Swords. And that is, it has a lot to do with cruelty. This can be, nightmares, paranoia, anxieties, scattered energies, finding negativity where there is some, or maybe there is none, but you are creating it, through unprocessed things, which I know I'm really good at doing that. Finding something wrong when there really is none. But then at times too, sometimes you find something wrong and you want to tell yourself, oh, I'm just, overthinking it or whatever. And you just know, right? Sometimes we really do just know. Almost always, I would say. Okay. All right. So I want to start right here. We have a person who it looks like they have their back right here. They're looking this way. They're kind of in a real sturdy stance there. Okay. Almost similar to what you would see like maybe an umpire or in baseball or a catcher. Something where, you have a wider stance to have a wider base so that you're not knocked about. But I'm getting rid of some of the tea there. But then we have also this arrow right here coming right in there. And so I feel you've been touched with some kind of longing, okay? Some kind of desire to be close to someone. As we know, the arrow is usually, not always, but sometimes related to the impulse of love or closeness. It doesn't have to be romantic. This could be family. This could be, a physical love, an amorous love, eros. It could be agape. There are lots of kinds of love. But here we see it's kind of hitting you in the back. So I think it came from nowhere. I think that this is a feeling that really kind of has risen up. You were not expecting it, but here it is. So what are we going to do, right? And really what is going on that this is kind of seems like a pretty important symbol here. Okay, and so I'm turning this and I'm seeing we have a stag right here, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But interestingly, I'm looking at this one and it looks like we have maybe, well, I was looking at it and the first thing that came to mind is the chair in a salon. So it feels almost like somebody involved in this situation is maybe a hairdresser, a stylist. They work in some kind of salon, or at least in that capacity. That is how you experience them. Is this the person that you're having these feelings for? I don't know exactly. But what I do feel is that there is an intense want to connect, okay? And and I'm looking at this and it looks like it's L and it looks like an E and then I. And now I know it's jumbled, but I just feel like there's a sense of misrepresentation of this person's capacity to like kind of share themselves emotionally. And I don't think that they're like lying on purpose, but I feel like they kind of lie to themselves. And I feel like this is almost somebody who has come in and out of your life, or at least the closeness of this person has come and gone. And whenever you begin to want to form that closer relationship, a friendship, a bond, and I almost wonder, like, is this like a mother figure? Is this a sister, or I don't know, like an aunt or close friend? It feels very feminine to me. And maybe they're older. I feel like they're maybe an older person, or at least somebody you kind of look up to. But the thing is, I really think as you have gotten older, you've realized that this person is very closed off emotionally. Like, they're very, when people say emotionally unavailable, it's usually we're talking about, you know, like a romantic situation or trying to date or whatever. But this is like somebody who has a lot of trouble opening up to anybody. They get to a certain point and they cannot maintain the closeness of a relationship. And I think, you know, it comes off as maybe they're pretty selfish, maybe narcissistic, but I wonder, you know, and I'm not gonna, you know, we can be all kinds of things. We can have all kinds of issues in our life. But if we're unkind or hurtful or predatory or abusive to other people, there are no excuses for that. So I look at this and I think, you know, there's a lot of pain there for them. Something has gone on in their life, or maybe there's been a series of things, but they are not a very happy person. And I think that they wear this kind of you know, personality facade where people are very drawn to them. They're probably very personable, right? Charming, enchanting to some degree, but you can't actually get close to them. Right? They're really good. They're really good on TV, right? Or really good on the internet. They're really good in passing. But if you saw behind the curtains, you would know this is a person that has a lot of pain. And so it's always been difficult, but I think that there's always this longing, right? And it comes back around. And this is why I think this maybe is like a family member, because doesn't that happen where we get very, like, you know, things happen in our lives, or, you know, it's been a while and we've kind of grown ourselves, we've done the self-work, and we just really hope that these people who, you know, we feel a closeness to, we want to try again. We don't want to give up, right? And, you know, always hoping that maybe this will change. And I feel like, you know, you're kind of getting into that place again. Now, I don't know that this is going to be a good or a bad situation. I just know that you're feeling the pull, or at least the desire, you know, to have that kind of close relationship. And so let's look at the stag now. And the stag is one of the most powerful symbols of the forest. This is definitely, you know, kind of one of those wilderness archetypes, wilderness god, deity archetypes. This is the most sacred deer. This is really a very confronting symbol. And if you can imagine yourself kind of walking through the woods, maybe you're on a hike, or, you know, going along the trail, or you're out there foraging or whatever. And, you know, so it's really fun to see deer, you know, does and the younger, smaller bucks and things. But when you come face to face with, you know, a big old, you know, male deer that, you know, this is a powerful, powerful being. This is a dangerous, dangerous being, you know, territorial, especially if they are in a rut season, or, you know, you're close to their grouping of other deer, or, you know, we're close to their grounds where they eat and whatever. You know, it can be alarming, and they can attack, you know. Now, think of this on a spiritual level. Beautiful sign to experience a, you know, a stag in your dreams. A beautiful totem to have. But this is also, there's a lot of vitality. And with that vitality, that lifeblood, that fiery thing that moves mountains to create, almost you could think of it like lava. It just pours out. There is no controlling it. There's no, you know, deciding how much comes and goes. This is a thing that is uncontrollable. And so when we are confronted with these aspects of self, and we all have them, maybe you won't find it for a long time. Maybe you already know it well. You know, this is something that can be really, excuse me, this is something that can be really life-changing, okay? When we find that thing that gets us to that point. Now, what are you going to do with it, right? This is not unlike shadow work. This is like, you know, Jungian shadow work. Looking at those aspects of self that are difficult. You know, the stag is something that is enduring, powerful, a creator, a king among kings, right? But this is, you know, also a brute. This is something that does not take word from others. This is something that knows best, even when it doesn't, right? Have you ever seen two deers locked until their antlers are locked, and they've perished because they're all tangled, you know, and they couldn't get loose, and or one has pulled the other one off and it's carrying it around still. And so, you know, this is a ferocious energy, something that has to be worked through delicately, okay? And so this impairing with this desire to connect with this person, you know, I think that the real thing I look at here is to, well, you know, safeguard yourself as much as you can, you know, realistically, how much can we? But also, you know, try to be realistic, and where you have this deep desire for this love that maybe, you know, I mean, and there really is somebody who continually shows you how they're going to be and behave, you have to believe them. But you still have this capacity to love and want to be loved. And so you create it, you put it somewhere, right? And I don't mean frivolously. I don't mean, you know, mindlessly. Putting it into something of worth. Putting it into your faith. Putting it into your work. Putting it into something creative. Putting it into you know, however you relate to the divine, creating ceremonies, rituals, finding somewhere for this love, because it's going to keep coming no matter what. And so do we, you know, it's like anything else. It becomes part, you know, blocked by some kind of emotional blockage, maybe neglect, abandonment, rejection from somebody who is maybe a core person in your life, right? And then it gets stuck in that blockage, and it gets ferocious. It's ready to just explode at some point. And so, you know, we have to redirect those energies, work on those blockages. You know, I'm always going to advocate therapy here, counseling therapy, group therapy, finding people who you can talk to, you know, support groups and things. But also, you know, there are a lot of self-work, systems of self-work, spirituality. All of this stuff, I think, goes hand in hand. They are not replacements for one another, but they are, they work well paired up. That's, you know, I truly believe that. So I think finding a system for yourself, okay, some kind of therapeutic thing paired with some kind of spiritual system, or whatever, you know, magical, philosophical, art, whatever it is. These things together really can change the landscape of your life, can change how you feel about the world, about yourself. Okay, so we also have, and I keep looking here, it looks like we have, and I thought, okay, this is a fish, but it doesn't look like a fish, really. To me, it looks kind of like a fox. And so I think that we really do have this kind of trickstery spirit as well. And I think that, you know, this is kind of, and it meets with that stag. And I really think that, you know, Gemini, where you have difficulties, maybe processing your emotion, tempering your emotions, processing some of your emotions, in a way that is maybe constructive, or, you know, doesn't kind of turn into a big kind of, you know, ordeal. I think that, with that trickster energy, doing something that you find entertaining, fun, silly, you know, we're going into this, we're right into this Halloween season. It's just a few days out here now. But, you know, just kind of tricks or treats, right? Having some fun. Go out and do something that, you know, feels creative, entertaining. You know, I don't know. I've been watching these things about like haunts and you know, like haunted houses and this kind of thing. So, you know, maybe something like that, but also maybe doing some kind of ceremony, really putting some of that energy into that trickster spirit within yourself, that kind of fox spirit. The trickster is not, you know, often gets a bad rap. It can be, of course. But I think that when we activate that part of ourself, if we're not using it in a predatory way, it is a good way to, make some art. You know, I think of like the merry pranksters, or, what were they called? The Yes Men, I think. They were more political, but I remember them because of books and things I was reading some years ago. I guess, gosh, like 20 years ago maybe. But just these groups, and of course, in popular culture, we see a lot of these kinds of shows and things with pranks and, you know, little setups and, you know, what was that one? The hidden camera one or whatever, which is all over there's all kinds of things like that now. But, you know, we like to be tricked a little bit. We like to trick a little bit. As long as it's fun, right? And not harmful to somebody else. So, you know, maybe that's a good energy, a good place to put some of those feelings, those emotions. And now we have a bird that is flying here. We have an arch here, and I really feel like the bridge, getting over that bridge, you know, all of that kind of furious water beneath, that current, you know, letting it pass, crossing that bridge, getting on with things. And I really think that it will come, and this feeling will come again, and, you know, and it will go, and it'll come again, and that's just kind of how it is. But I think that it's an opportunity to work on these things, to continue to work on it, so it doesn't destabilize you, okay? All right, so we're going to look at the Earthbound Oracle. I'm just going to go ahead and pull one card here. Oh, fear. Okay. So we do have we have the arrows coming for the back there. Oops, and I'm just going to go ahead and pull another one. Okay, and so time, fear, time, obfuscate. All right, so we really do have a vibe here. These are all kind of the same colors, aren't they? So I really think that, you know, ultimately, I really feel like just putting this energy into somewhere else. I think that, you know, everything kind of just takes time to, you know, do the work, process through it. But I think there's still a lot of fear here. I think that kind of disengaging yourself, and not acting out of fear, and giving yourself the time to recover from some of this stuff. That's what's really going to be important. So, yeah, Gemini, you know, I wouldn't say it's not easy. We're not dealing with a lot of easy feelings, but, I think that, you know, this is something that is totally doable. Something that is, you know, sometimes the universe just puts things in our lives where we have to work. We have to work through them. Before they become something bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's an opportunity to kind of, you know, process some of this stuff and find a way to navigate through it, right? So it doesn't kind of show up in other relationships over and over, and, you know, it's really a cycle or a pattern. So, anyways, I'm going to go ahead and say thank you so much for watching this reading. It is always such an honor to be able to read for you. If you'd be so kind as to like the video, it really helps the channel. It helps the video get out there further and further. And if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit the little bell. It'll let you know when the next videos are coming out. And if you want to leave a comment, I would love to hear from you. Let me know how you're doing. And with that, I will say thank you, and we'll talk in just a few days.